Hello, 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 and welcome to another fantastic episode of Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion. Before we get started, let me remind you again that we are covered by the BIP No Government License, which allows for the reuse and distribution of this podcast by anyone and everyone except for governments and the bludgies thereof. You can learn more about that at bipcot.org. That is bipcot.org. This is episode 76, and we have just Andrew and I here for now. Hopefully the others will be joining us later. But until then, you get to hear our sultry voices.
The dulcet tones.
The face is made for radio.
Yeah. My mom always said I had a voice for print, so.
I don't think my mama wasn't even that nice. Yeah. So you want to just jump into it?
Yeah, might as well. I don't really have a whole lot of interesting preface stuff.
You work, I work. It's snowing, it's cold. Weather changes. It fucking sucks.
It's actually not snowing here now. It snowed and it snowed and it got really cold and then it warmed up, melted everything just enough, and then got cold again. So now it's just all ice.
It got cool enough here that I actually pulled my hoodie out of the closet and had to knock the dust off of it. Yeah, that California weather.
Shake out the moths. Get off of it. Find a lamp.
My hoodie. Bad moths, go away.
Yeah, I put on one of my jackets for the first time, my heavier coats, and was like, "What's in the pocket?" And I had $15 shoved in the pocket. Don't know why, but it was there, and I was super excited. It was like Christmas. Sweet.
Fuck yeah.
I'm hoping the rest of my coats also have stuff shoved in them, because I have like a million different coats and jackets. I'm like addicted to it. It's like women with shoes, me, and coats. I don't know what it is. I just constantly am buying them, just all the time. Like, ooh, I like this jacket. Ooh, I like that jacket.
I can't follow that. I have nothing to follow that. Oh, hey, Dirica's ready. Let's see. Dirica, calling Dirica. Do. Insert Jeopardy theme music here.
Hey guys.
Hello, Miss Dirica.
How's it going?
We literally started like a minute ago.
Nice. Sorry about the delay, though. Seriously. Shit starts getting busy when you got a teenager that's got classes and work and all this shit. And, anyways. And we've been painting all day. I've got paint all over my hands. And my clothes, of course. And I fucking hurt. Oh my God, I hurt.
Is it really painting if you're not coated in it by the time you're done? Like,
no,
did you really paint anything?
I was doing fine when it was the walls yesterday. So, right, like we painted the walls up there yesterday. And I was fine. But then I went to paint the built-ins today. And, they're like bookshelves. And so there's not really enough room for my hand either direction. So, like, I have white all over my fucking, like, all up my forearm and my knuckles and everything. I'm just covered. So, and then by the end, my arm hurt so damn bad. I was, like, slopping the paint on to get it done faster. So there's paint all over my fucking clothes, too. But it looks good. It looks damn good. Except the spots where I have to touch up because we let the kids help.
That's the way it works.
Yep.
No.
Yep. But man, do I fucking hurt. Holy shit.
Well, you want to start with a good laugh then?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, let's I don't know if it's a good laugh technically.
And I'm going to tell you, I haven't been following Telegram at all lately.
I know.
I'm sorry.
I sent her a link and she replies like a week later, "Hey, that's really cool."
I've been Look, I've been wrapped up and getting ready for the holiday. My family's coming in from Oregon for Thanksgiving. And like, I got to get shit ready around the house for that. And then I've had orders. Like, as soon as I finish a commission, I have another one come in, which is great. I love it. I'm loving that. But crochet is a two-hand job. I'm not on my phone much. So, anyways.
All right. All right. Seattle taxes property owners to fund neighbors' political contributions.
Oh.
It's just, all right. They're called democracy vouchers.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Have you paid for your democracy today?
Doesn't that sound like some Orwellian fucking bullshit?
It's a democracy voucher that only gets funded because of property owners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly as the founding fathers intended.
Absolutely. Oh, this is episode 76, by the way, Deriga.
Nice.
All right. A lawsuit against a taxation plan in Seattle that collects revenue from property owners and allows residents to contribute the money to campaigns of city council candidates of their choice is being submitted to the U.S. Supreme Court for review. Pacific Legal Foundation, who I absolutely love. Pacific Legal Foundation, which is representing property owners Mark Elster and Sarah Penchone, says its clients, quote, don't want to sponsor viewpoints they oppose.
Yeah.
Quote, the Supreme Court has long held that compelling someone to pay for someone else's private speech violates the First Amendment. PLF said, quote, government cannot conscript citizens into betraying their convictions by forcing them to apply ideas they abhor. For example, the government cannot force a progressive voter to support Donald Trump or a libertarian voter to support Bernie Sanders. And its petition to the High Court explains that in 2015, quote, the city of Seattle implemented a novel method for funding its political campaigns. The program implicates a special First Amendment concern because it views some individuals, here property owners, to pay for campaign contributions of other private individuals. The program issues 4 $25, quote, democracy vouchers to Seattle residents using money from property owners each election year. The voucher holder can only use the vouchers to support a qualified local candidate they choose to participate in the program. Not surprisingly, most of the voters fund the re-election campaigns of Seattle City Council.
Gosh, what a shocker.
Yeah. I mean, how they came up with this idea is a real fucking brain buster.
I'm shocked. Shocked.
Yeah.
Well, not that shocked.
But the First Amendment issue is that the city is forcing taxpayers, quote, to fund private political speech with which they disagree. Quote, campaign funding will inherently be skewed in favor of current popular candidates. So property owners who favor less popular candidates, such as petitioners, are compelled to fund a program that favors candidates and campaign-related speech that they oppose, thus compelling them to, quote, betray their convictions.
But trying to force anarchists to live in this system that betrays their convictions, that's okay.
Well, and, bake the fucking cake.
Right.
The city collects up to $3 million per year through property taxes to hand out to taxpayers to give only to politicians.
Oh my God.
So rather than saying if you want to support a candidate, you should take money that you have yourself and support the candidate that you want to support. No. We're going to go ahead and take that money from you and then only give it to the people that we want you to give it to. However, in no way could this ever be seen as corruption, surely. It's
not just that. They are literally forcing people to participate in the fucking selection process. And whereas before that was one of the few like rebellions people had without getting tossed in a fucking cage, was to just refuse to participate.
Yeah. Washington state courts all upheld the taxation plan.
Oh, gee, what a surprise.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise. Color me shocked.
Yeah, no way would the Pacific Northwest lean incredibly left, especially right on the coast.
And no
can't
way
possibly
would government employees support other
Yeah.
government employees.
No. What?
And for example, we can use this to where Derek lives in Virginia. Virginia just elected a Democratic governor, and like one of the first things he did was like, "Oh, we're gonna get rid of guns," right? Well, Derek as a homeowner, as a property owner, could be taxed under this plan. Like if this was in Virginia, Derek would be taxed, and then her tax money would go to people so that they can send it to the guy that wants to take her guns.
Yep. Yeah.
And but it's freedom though, because it's a democracy voucher.
No. See, we put
Send
democracy at the
bachelors,
beginning.
come heavily armed.
Yeah. I mean, that's the most Orwellian double-speaky, like the Patriot Act and the democracy vouchers. Like, are you kidding me? Free speech areas. Like these.
Yeah.
This is no. That the entire idea is antithetical to the concept that you're trying to say that you support. It's
a performative contradiction.
And it's funny. It's $3 million a year going to city council members,
re-election campaigns,
to the election campaigns of city council members.
Like they're not even trying to hide their fucking money laundering anymore. They're like not even laundering it. They're just like straight up funneling it from where it is to where they want to be, regardless of what anybody else wants.
Well, yeah, because everyone might complain if it was a slush fund.
Yeah. Right.
How many socialists are on the Seattle City Council?
On it. Oh, I'm sure a shitload.
I think it's up to 3 now, like 3 of the 13 or something like that.
Yeah. Well, no, 13 of the 13.
Yeah.
All government is socialism, just in varying degrees. So.
Government itself is inherently socialist, which is something that if you ever really want to make like a Republican really start going,
my God, I
throw that out there.
Hate that.
I made a Social Security post on Wolf the other day, or like last week. I'm still getting comments on it. There's still comments on it.
I'd just be going, shut the fuck up, boomer. Shut the fuck up, boomer. Shut the fuck up, boomer.
Yeah. Ethan Blevins of the PFL said that, quote, democracy vouchers are a twist on Robin Hood. In this case, Robin Hood steals back taxes from King John, quote, gives the money to poor and forces the poor to pass it on to the sheriff for Nottingham's next election campaign.
Yeah, it's like, wait, Robin Hood took money the government stole, gave back to people. They're stealing money from people and then giving it to themselves, which is just kind of what government always does. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, they're Prince John. So they're not hiding it anymore.
Yeah, they're stealing money they're taking money from Prince John to give to the Sheriff of Nottingham. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, they're taking money from the people. Like, so Prince John's taking money from the people to give to the Sheriff of Nottingham's re-election campaign.
Yeah.
No.
No, it's not corrupt at all. It's democracy.
It's democracy, yeah.
Yeah.
Because democracy makes everything better. Like,
of course.
Democratic socialism.
The will of the people.
It's not socialism. It's democratic socialism. Yeah. Oh, it's not Nazism. It's democratic Nazism.
Mm-hmm.
See, when you throw democracy at the beginning,
it's not fascism. It's democratic fascism.
Yeah.
It's not It's not torture. It's democratic torture.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's democratic waterboarding.
Yeah, I was just gonna say democratic waterboarding.
It's not totalitarianism. It's democratic totalitarianism.
There are 3 of us in the room who voted, and we all voted to waterboard you. I mean, you voted against it, but you're only the one person, so.
Yeah. It's the will of the people.
That's what it'd be. It'd be like taxing Derica to give us democracy vouchers to pay for a candidate
Yep.
to punish Derica.
Yep.
No, that's totally fair. That's how the system is supposed to work, right?
And they're only, it's a property tax, right?
It's only on it's a property tax. It's on property.
Of course, because what they want to do is they want to take money away from people who have some money and some success and some, net worth and whatever, people they consider rich, and give it to their voter base who is not those people. So it's just more redistribution of wealth. Only it just all goes right back into their own fucking pockets.
You don't know how to spend your money. I know how to spend your money. Don't worry. I'll show you the proper way.
Yeah.
Would you say it is a learned mindset?
Absolutely. It's
probably.
You have to be raised with this system where you just assume that no, government knows how to do this stuff better, and you have to have that hammered into your head to the point where you honestly have internalized that you don't know how to use your money better than they do.
And where would they learn this?
Yeah.
I can't imagine who would teach them.
Senator Camelia Harris introduces a bill to lengthen the school day by 3 hours.
God. Now, okay, this bill is what she's talking about right now is like an after-school program that's paid for by the state.
Yeah,
and run by the school essentially, so that parents don't have to worry about who's like picking up their kid until they get off work.
It's a daycare.
Right.
What is it? It's daycare.
Right. But this is how it's going to start.
Yeah.
Like, mark my words, within 10 years, it'll be compulsory education until fucking 5 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah. Presidential candidate, Senator Camelia Harris, Democrat out of California, who scares the fuck out of me, by the way, introduced a bill Wednesday that would lengthen school day to 6 p.m. to better align with working parent schedules. The proposal, first reported by Mother Jones, calls for a 3-hour extension of elementary school hours during weekdays and appoints money for the creation of summer programs and activities when school is not in session.
So they get your kid year-round to hammer the ideas that they want them to learn. Yeah.
From 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And it's funny, they talk about working parents. Gee, I wonder why both parents have to work so much so often and they're working so hard. It can't possibly be because you're stealing half of their income.
Yep. So they both have to work or they can't survive.
Yeah. Five-year grants of up to $5 million would go to school districts serving a high number of low-income families to push the end of average school day from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. in 500 schools. School days typically start at 8 a.m. Teachers and faculty, the bill says, would not have to work additional hours unless they sign up for an extra shift, for which they would be compensated at a rate that they get during normal school hours. The bill proposes that the grant money go to extracurricular activities like electives such as music, arts, athletics, writing, and engineering, Harris's Senate office told CNBC. The extra time can also go toward dance and theater programs, among other enrichment activities, the office said, but it leaves the scheduling of the day open to the school administrators.
Who will surely only do things that the kids actually want to do.
Right.
And they're totally not going to pocket the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The legislation, named the Family Friendly Schools Act, targets low-income and working families who can't afford to pay for childcare in between the time a student finishes with school and a parent returns home from work.
See the good. Oh shit! Hang on.
Really?
Put that fucking cigar out, Andrew. Damn.
Burning down the house. Yeah. Quote, my bill provides an innovative solution that will help reduce the burden of a child care on a working families. It is time we modernize the school schedule to better meet the needs of our students and their families. All right, here's some
The
double
best
speak.
part about that was that went off from my vape, not from the cigar.
Oh, nice.
All right, here's some double speak for you, Andrew. Quote, my bill provides an innovative solution that will help reduce the burden of childcare on working families. It is time we modernize the school schedule to better meet the needs of students and their families.
Yes, it's all about the families. That's why we have to make sure we keep them apart for as long as possible.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, like, there's so much to unpack with that short fucking quote. Where do you even start? You know, there's so many layers, so many decades, and so many layers of like government pushing itself in the middle of families and tearing families apart. And they never fucking quit.
Yeah.
Like that quote from the teacher about how parents shouldn't be able to opt their kids out of stuff, and how he hates being accountable to parents for whatever, talking about how the teachers know better for the kids and shit.
Yeah,
like
that was
that.
the teacher out of Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck
no.
you.
Yeah, are you kidding me? Like, oh no, you're just a parent. You're just the individual who should be raising this person. You don't actually know how to raise them correctly, though. Government does.
Yeah.
It knows.
There was a
I know your
person-
kid better than you do. They've been in my class for 2 months. I'm more qualified than you.
There was a person in history had a quote about getting the kids young and you owning the future, and
Yeah.
God, it's right
on the tip of my tongue.
right on the tip of my right fingers. I'm pointing in the air.
It was something generally that sort of way.
I feel like it's somewhere above and slightly to the right of me. I'm gonna have to point with all my fingers at it.
Yeah. It's something about, he who owns the youth gains the future, something to that general effect, I think. I think he might have said something about propaganda along the way, and employed some guy whose name started with a G, something.
Yeah.
That guy.
That guy.
You could see that guy's fingerprints over everything we do now.
Oh my God! Seriously. And most people have no idea.
No, they have no idea who Joseph Goebbels is.
Yeah.
No clue who Goebbels is. No clue.
No.
They only know, Hitler was that guy in World War II, and he killed a bunch of people, and that's all.
Bad
they know.
man.
Yeah. Oh, he was bad, but they don't know.
Bad mustache man. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you say bad mustache man, that could be one of two people in World War II, realistically.
That's true. But see, this way it works on many levels, because the mustache was bad, and so was the man with the mustache.
The mustache was bad.
Wasn't there a little while ago like the joke theory going around that actually the mustaches of all of these dictators throughout history were actually aliens, and that's where they were nesting to mind control?
John Bolton.
John Bolton, Saddam Hussein had a bushy mustache. El Che had a little bit of a mustache. I'm sure there was actually a mustache alien hiding in the beard of Fidel Castro.
Pinochet.
Yeah, mustache. I mean, you see where this is going. It's
Mussolini,
actually mustache aliens.
Hitler.
Yeah. Well, Mussolini didn't have a mustache. Mussolini was clean shaven.
Oh, right. Who was it? It was I don't know, the other fucking guy. Anyways.
Franco had a mustache.
Yeah.
So, see, it's
That's
mustache
funny.
aliens. That's what it is. We're focusing on the reptilians, and that is their psyop to distract us from the mustache aliens that are actually running everything.
Right.
A bunch of satanic woolly bears running around.
That's probably
Evil
easier
caterpillars.
to believe. It's probably easier to believe than the shit that actually has happened and happens through history. The stuff nobody knows about, or very few people know about.
Yep. Evil caterpillars. That's what they are.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
We need to raise awareness, start marching. Somebody call Alex Jones.
I think there was a Star Trek episode like that.
It's an extra large one that's taking control of Trump on top of his head.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a king mustache.
Yeah. One of the hive leaders.
Oh God.
It's pregnant.
It's fucking ridiculous.
I tried to tell. What was it that Jeff Dunham on his comedy special? He's got the Trump assistant now as one of his puppets in his most recent one. Oh, it's great because he talks about he's like, I tried to tell him not to tweet the other day and his hair attacked me.
All right. County says seizing home over $8.41 tax debt was okay because counties need money.
No, that's not how okay works.
Me stealing your car was okay because I really needed wheels.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
Well,
hey, Virginia, you hear that? Me smoking weed is okay because I really need pain relief. So fuck you.
See? This logic carries all over the place.
Derica needs to smoke because painting is boring.
All right.
Because
painting makes me hurt.
Arguing before the Michigan Supreme Court, attorneys for the county that pocketed nearly $25,000 from forfeiting Yuri Raffaelli's property over an $8.41 tax debt argued that it's not really about the property, it's about the money.
No.
The telling moment came in the midst of a back and forth between Justice Richard Bernstein and John Bruce, the attorney representing Oakland County. This is Oakland County, Michigan. In trying to defend the county's right to seize the full value of Raffaelli's property over a minuscule debt, Bursch had argued that it was impossible for local governments to compensate all homeowners when they're caught in similar circumstances. The price tag he estimated would be more than $2 billion statewide.
Well, I hate this kind of phrasing. Caught in similar circumstances. Like it just happens to you out of the blue. Like it's part of nature and there's no helping it.
Yeah, like $8.41,
you
right?
assholes created the fucking circumstances.
They're
actually caught by you.
They actually did $8.41 tax stamp, or a tax debt, quote unquote debt. It was because the county miscalculated the interest.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So they created.
Yeah, they said they didn't do it on purpose. It was just a miscalculation. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I mean, can you imagine if you did that? If you paid them and just said, "Oh, sorry, I guess I don't owe that to you because I miscalculated." Oops.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Raffaelli's situation is awful, but not hardly unique. Under the terms of state law passed in 1999, county treasurers in Michigan are allowed to seize properties with unpaid taxes, settle the debt, and keep the remainder for their own budgets.
Unfucking believable.
If a bank takes your house, like if they foreclose on it and then they sell it and they get more than you owe, they are legally required to give you the money that is extra. If I repo a car and then sell it for more money, and if I'm a bank that's doing that, I then have to give that money, the extra, back to the person who had the car that I took.
Because you only get to recoup what they owe you.
That's the way it works in most states, but this is Michigan under Michigan law. Pacific Legal Foundation, a nonprofit law firm, is challenging the law, argues it violates provisions in both the Michigan and U.S. constitutions. Quote, a ruling for the plaintiffs would ruin local governments, warned Borsch. Quote, that will come right out of schools, roads, firefighters, and other basic services.
That $8. We need that money.
We need that. No, they need the almost 25,000. That's
right.
That's what they're arguing over. Yeah.
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 They only needed $8 until the guy didn't pay the $8, but now they need that 25,000 for roads and schools. And
Yeah, this is the equivalent of that kid from Better Off Dead, the paperboy from Better Off Dead. Yeah, like not getting his $2, and so he just like blows up John Cusack's car.
Wait, hold on,
Like,
hold on. There's a better quote coming up. But Bernstein, that's the judge. Bernstein wasn't buying it. Quote: "The interpretation you gave was very dramatic. That this is going to end schools and these counties are going to crumble and society is just going to implode," said Bernstein, interrupting Porsche. "You have a situation where a person owed $8 and lost their house. I mean, how is that equatable?"
Yeah,
it's not.
Justice Bernstein really just completely slapped him with like, "Are you kidding me?"
Bursch replied, "It may sound unfair on its face, but it's also unfair to force those who pay their taxes to subsidize those who don't."
That guy paid his fucking taxes. You miscalculated his goddamn interest.
Yeah, you screwed it up, and now I just
Hold on. Bernstein was still skeptical. "It was $8," he said. Could it have been a mistake?" Quote: "These counties don't want the property," argued Borsch. "They want the money."
Bullshit.
That's well, we don't actually want to hold on to the property, so it's okay because we're just going to sell it anyway.
Yeah. There's two, and the reason this is a article from Reason. It says there are two different ways to interpret Borsch's argument. What was probably trying to say is that counties are using the law and forfeiture proceedings authorized by it as a punitive measure to compel the payment of taxes. Later, during the same oral argument, he described an arrangement as pure government paternalism. Quote: "It's the same as when I tell my kids, if you don't pick up your stuff, it's mine," Borsch argued. "They can't complain when I take their stuff and claim I took it in claim I took their equity in that property."
Are they your fucking kids?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. That's a stupid freaking argument. That there's no comparison between the two unless you're suggesting that the government are parents and taxpayers are just unruly children.
Yeah. Well, that's how they always view us. I mean, that's how every statist views the public at large, whether they know it or not. Whatever side of that equation they see themselves on, that's how they view it, as a parent-child relationship.
Yeah. Chief Justice Bridget Mary McCormick quickly crushed that line of argumentation by pointing out counties can't dodge takings claims by arguing that at least they respected due process. That would be like cops trying to get away with violating the Fourth Amendment's prohibition against unreasonable searches simply by claiming they were respecting a suspect's First Amendment right to complain about their search.
It's just the arrogance of these government officials in this court. Just the arrogance of it. The whole thing is mind-blowing, even for Michigan government, which is inherently one of the worst in the country.
Yeah.
I've had people from Michigan, "Oh, it's not that bad." Detroit, Flint.
Yeah. In Oakland County, the special budgetary fund that contains revenue from tax foreclosed properties contained more than $196 million last year.
Jesus.
But if they have
$196 million in the bank.
And they had to have that guy's house.
They took this guy's house over $8.41. Legally took the guy's house over $8.41.
Yeah, it's over, America. It's just fucking over. Like, there's no way out of it but through it at this point. They're not gonna stop. I mean, we're just gonna slide further and further into tyranny until people fucking do something about it.
Yep. Quote: "Failure to pay your property taxes doesn't give the government license to take everything from you," says Christina Martin, an attorney with PLF who represented Raffaelli and other landowners in the state Supreme Court. Quote: if they could do that, then they could take your car if you pay a parking ticket late."
Yeah.
There are places that will do that.
I know, and that was kind of my lead into the next article.
Chicago, right?
La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
We we know somebody that lives in
Gosh,
Lacrosse,
do
right?
we?
That's right.
Do we know somebody?
Lindsay, where's Lindsay?
Yeah, where's I think she might live there.
Yeah. Did you want to bring this one up, or you want me to do it?
Well, I mean, you can go into it. I got plenty to say about it because.
All right. Lacrosse Police Department collects estimated $77,000 in parking fines during the first year of boot and tow program. In the past year, Lacrosse Police Department has booted 228 vehicles. Vehicle owners at risk of having their vehicle booted if they have 5 or more parking citations 60 days overdue. The police department says it tries to avoid booting cars by making the owners aware. Quote, we do send letter to registered owner indicating that they are possible for a boot and tow and put them on notice of that. There are currently 57 payment plans in the boot and tow program. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. 228 vehicles, $77,000 was raised because they towed 228 cars over parking tickets.
And those parking tickets are usually it's $10 the first time, $20 the second time, $40. I think it goes no higher than 40. So if you consider that your average parking ticket is between 10 and 40 bucks, and then all of a sudden, if you don't pay that and you go, no, this is bullshit, I'm not paying it, they will then boot your car, charge you over $300 to get the boot off. And then if you don't, they'll take your car.
Yeah.
For parking on a road that you're taxed to pay for, that you get a ticket from someone whose salary you pay from taxes.
Yeah.
And to put it in even more perspective, Lacrosse's city population. Yeah. Lacrosse's city population is under 52,000.
Nice.
So 52,000 people, $77,000.
Jeez.
That's an average of like $1,400 and change, almost $1,500 per person, man, woman, and child in the entire city.
Going to the snow day, the parking wrong side or whatever it was.
Yeah. So there was
pre-show.
Yeah, there like last year, I think around this time we talked about Lacrosse and its ridiculous alternate side parking enforcement. The fact that they're charging people even when there's no snow. I went to look it up because I knew they had made a ridiculous amount of money off of alternate side parking. And anybody who doesn't live where it snows.
Yeah.
If you don't live where it snows, so alternate side parking means that once it's snow season, everyone has to park on one side of the street and then the other on alternating nights, so that if the plows have to come through, they can clear out one side and then the other and then keep the streets clear. That's what it's supposed to be for. However, I have discovered alternate side parking tickets in Lacrosse are more common when there's no snow.
But alternate side parking isn't a thing without snow.
Oh, it's a thing no matter what.
No, it's a thing from like hard date to hard date.
From November 15th,
I see. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Starting November 15th until April or May something. Regardless of whether there's snow or not. Now, Sparta Police a few years ago opted not to enforce it. But
so what you're saying is that they're ticketing people for the times when they're not doing alternate side parking, when it's not even relevant.
Yeah, when it shouldn't be, when it's not actually needed.
Right.
When there's no snow. In fact, this article talks about it occurs more often when there's no snow to remove. Nearly 9 out of 10 alternate side parking violations issued since 2010 were issued on days when there was less than half an inch of snowfall. And more than 60% of the tickets were handed out on nights when there was no snow whatsoever.
Jeez.
But no, it's for safety. It's for everyone's safety so we can clear the roads.
Well, it's because they're conditioning people. They want to condition people to just do it without thinking alternate side parking, right? But if it hasn't snowed for a couple weeks, people are like, fuck this. It's too much of a pain in the ass to, make the longer walk from my door or whatever. And
Yeah.
they just get careless, and that's when they start ticketing you.
They issued an average of 118 tickets on nights when the temperature wasn't even below freezing, and including 1,500 during a 10-day period in March of 2012 when our temperatures got up into the 80s.
Good Lord.
Yeah. In fact, they average 30 more tickets on average per night when there is no snow than they do when there is snow. And when the police were confronted by the local newspaper, their response was, well, it doesn't matter what the weather's like. We just enforce it always. But he hypothesized that people are simply more likely to comply with the ordinance when it's snowing.
Because that's when you actually need it to clear the roads.
Because that's what it freaking matters.
Yeah.
When it's snowing. That's the way the La Crosse PD. In fact, last year they actually straight up said, we don't care if there's no snow. It's not about the snow. It's about the revenue. Like, they admitted that last year. And it's the same thing with this new parking thing that they're doing. It's not about trying to make sure people are moving their cars. Because if you're parked on the side of the street, who are you interfering with?
Nobody.
Your car is parked. It's not in the middle of the road. Like, I could understand booting it and towing it if it's in the middle of the road or blocking a driveway or something like that. But if it's parked in front of my damn house, it's not magically tomorrow night now impeding traffic. Like, the road isn't moving. And it's still the same place. But they're 77 grand in a city of less than 52,000 people.
Jesus. I'm so glad I don't have to worry about parking. Governments are assholes about parking.
Oh,
I mean, you hear the stories all the time.
Oh yeah. They'll and we did have free parking in these. We have like 3 big parking garages downtown because downtown predates cars, so there's not really a whole lot of parking there.
Right.
So they built these parking garages and they were free to park in for the longest time. And then they decided, well, we're going to start charging for it, but only on weekdays during the workday. So it's just the people who work down there that are paying for it. That way we're not interfering with the tourism and the fact that downtown is nothing but bars. So that way we're not discouraging people from coming down and pumping revenue into the city. And then they decided, no, it's going to be all the time. The price is actually going to increase on the weekends. And by the way, if you don't pay it, we'll give you $100 ticket.
Well, yeah, once they get a taste of a new stream of revenue, they're fucking hooked.
It's just, it's like heroin.
It is. That's what I was just going to say. Yeah, it's like heroin to them.
It's just insane. I mean, I think they brought in something like over $100,000 from alternate side parking tickets. Who knows how much from regular parking tickets? $77,000 from this boot and tow program. All of this money that's being just squeezed out of these people, and most of the people that are getting booted are college students.
Yeah, who have so much extra money, as we all know.
Yeah, and it's because there's no spare parking down there. Like, if you go to UWL, which is the school that everyone goes to because they couldn't get into UW, the main one in Madison. That whole area is non-stopped cars, almost bumper to bumper down the streets on every single street. So there's no way to do alternate side parking or anything because not all cars are going to fit on one side of the freaking street. Like, it doesn't work.
Right.
So what are they supposed to do? And in response, they're like, oh, no. So you have to go ahead and pay us money that you don't actually have now. Yeah. And you're already surviving on ramen, but you can just go without food for like a week, right? And pay this fine. Like, that's their attitude. And now they even have a parking ordinance for that area where for X amount of blocks around the school, you have to have a special permit to even park there at all. So you have to pay them for the privilege to park in the area. And then if you don't move your car every single day, then you also have to pay them to keep them from taking your car. And this is all
aren't there like residential areas around the school? Like every school around here, there's always like a bunch of residential areas around the school. So like people have to pay for a permit to park in front of their own fucking homes.
Yeah, it's all school housing for the most part. Like everybody who lives in those areas, it's all apartments and everything, but it's just everybody who lives in those areas are college students. Like they just are. No one else wants to live anywhere near those neighborhoods at all if they can help it. So, but it's
a little
still
different over here with all the like, you know, historic areas like Mary Washington's in the middle of downtown Fredericksburg. Like, you know, and I mean it's named after George Washington's mother because her fucking house is right there. So it's like all these like historical like residential, you know, homes around the college.
Yeah, so. Well, and that's it. They actually had to decrease the radius when they did that because initially their proposal was going to include a lot of big historian like Victorian homes and things, and those owners who have lots of money, obviously, because they spent $1 million on their house, they raised holy hell about the idea that they would have to pay for a permit to park in front of their own house. And so the city backed down eventually on it and restricted it to a much more exclusive student housing. But there's still apartment buildings that aren't exclusively students who get lumped into that. Where if you're not parked in the parking lot of that building, you can get ticketed just for parking there.
Jeez.
And that's always enforced. Like that's all the time. So like my landlord is right across the street from the school. Like their office is right there. Because most of the properties they manage are student properties. So that's where they're located. If I don't park in their 3 parking spaces and park on the street, I'm at risk of getting a ticket for parking there, even though I'm patronizing that business in that area. I can still get ticketed just for stopping my car in the wrong place.
Good Lord.
Well, as we know, police aren't the smartest.
Not really. Oh.
And they don't have to be via the SCOTUS decision.
Yep. Segue on that. Article from the New York Times titled "These machines can put you in jail. Don't trust them." And it's about the alcohol breathalyzer tests, which this article calls a linchpin of the criminal justice system. Yeah, 1 million Americans a year are arrested for drunk driving, and at most stops being the same way, flashing blue lights and rearview mirror. Battery test that includes standing on one foot and reciting the alphabet. What matters most, though, happens next. By the side of the road or at the police station, the drivers blow into miniature science lab that estimates a concentration of alcohol in the blood. If the level is 0.8 or higher, there are all but certain that you will be convicted of a crime. But these tests, a bedrock of the criminal justice system, are often unreliable, a New York Times investigation found.
Gosh.
The devices found in virtually every police station in America generated skewed results with alarming frequency, even though they are marked as precise to the 3rd decimal place. Judges in Massachusetts and New Jersey have thrown out more than 30,000 breath tests in the last 12 months alone, largely because of human error and lax governmental oversight. Across the country, thousands of other tests have also been invalidated in recent years. The machines are sensitive scientific instruments, and in many cases, they haven't been properly calibrated, yielding results that were at times 40% too high. Maintaining machines is up to police departments that sometimes have shoddy standards or lack expertise. In some cities, lab officials have used stale or homebrewed chemical solutions that warped results. In Massachusetts, officers used a machine with rats nesting inside.
Are you kidding me? Like, there's low standards, and then there's just no fucks given whatsoever.
And even if they worked perfectly, I've got a big problem with breathalyzers anyways. Like,
yes,
if you're diabetic like me, and let's say your blood sugar isn't well controlled, so there's lots of sugar alcohols in your blood system. Yep. If your ketones get too high, they'll set off a fucking breathalyzer. Yep. So, I mean, there are medical conditions that will give false highs on breathalyzer tests.
Different things too, like mouthwash and all a bunch of other, like anything that has a a strong smell to it can
Right.
alter
Kombucha will set it off.
Yeah.
There
Certain
are
gums, I bet.
there are more than 1 million drunk driving arrests in America each year, but the devices that police use to test drivers' breath may not even work. Technical experts have found serious programming mistakes in the machine's software. States have picked devices that their own experts don't trust and have disabled safeguards, meaning they meant to ensure the test accuracy. The Times interviewed more than 100 lawyers, scientists, executives, and police officers and reviewed tens of thousands of pages of court records and contracts. Together, they reveal the depth of nationwide problem that has attracted only sporadic attention.
And it's the same thing as those field drug kits that are like $1 or $2 or whatever. They're almost always wrong, and everything else. And getting the awareness to people out there that that these things aren't accurate and aren't being calibrated and not being maintained.
Even false alert, even like false what do they call it? Alerts or whatever from canines.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to, and that's why it's so important that everybody just pleads not guilty. Even if you've blown into this breathalyzer and it read you at whatever, plead not guilty. And in that trial, ask them on the stand, when was the last time this was calibrated? What's the margin of error?
Get the maintenance records. Subpoena the maintenance records.
Yeah, get that stuff. And as soon as it comes back, inevitably, that this thing hasn't been recalibrated or tested or anything.
The same with radar guns.
Yep. Oh yeah. I had a buddy of mine who's an attorney actually said that. He said whenever you get caught for speeding, always plead not guilty and always ask them in court when the last time it was calibrated was. Because in general they never get calibrated at all. So they're way off constantly.
Yeah. A county judge in Pennsylvania called it, quote, extremely questionable whether any of his state's breath tests could withstand serious scrutiny. In response, local prosecutors stopped using them. In Florida, a panel of judges described their state's instruments as a, quote, magic black box with significant and continued abnormalities. Even some industry veterans who say the machines should not be de facto arbiters of guilt. Quote, these tests were never meant to be used that way, says John Fusco, who ran National Patent Analytical Systems, a maker of breath testing devices. Yet these tests have become all but unavoidable. Every state punishes drivers who refuse to take one when ordered by police officers. The consequences of the legal system's reliance on these tests are far-reaching. People are wrongly convicted based on dubious evidence. Hundreds were never notified that their cases were built on faulty tests. And when flaws are discovered, the solution has been to discard the results, letting potentially dangerous drivers off the hook.
And I mean, it's not good to drink and drive. Like, don't misunderstand what we're saying and think that we're saying, oh, no, it's fine. You should be. No, that's a stupid, dangerous, reckless thing to do.
If you drink and drive and you get caught, as much as I'm not a fan of bludgies, I really don't fucking feel bad for you.
Yeah. And then there's like one quick story that they cite, and it says a man backed his car into an 83-year-old woman outside a liquor store and then failed the sobriety test. Another man was stopped after vomiting out the window and veering, quote, all over the road. One more driver with a suspended license was pulled over and blew a .32, a level of most drunkenness that would leave most people unconscious.
He's probably from Wisconsin.
All three were arrested and charged with drunk driving. All three had previous convictions for driving while intoxicated, according to the police reports and court records. All three were acquitted after Massachusetts was forced to throw out the breath test, along with more than 36,000 others in one of the largest expulsions of forensic evidence in American history.
Yeah, because they're not reliable. You can't trust it, and therefore it's not admissible, and therefore they get walked because as soon as that little thing beeps and gives them that number, they're like, oh, we got you, and they don't do any other tests, nothing else. I mean, that one guy that puked out his window and was weaving back and forth, like, he obviously should not be driving. Right. But now he didn't even get in trouble for doing that. Nothing will happen to him because they relied on something that doesn't work.
Yep.
It's mind-blowing. It's just insane. And I would love for that to get more known in Wisconsin because we lead the nation in drunk driving arrests. Absolutely by an enormous margin. There's a lady here in court just like a couple weeks ago that was on like
We're
her
talking
12th.
legitimate drunk driving arrest.
Yeah, and she was like on her 12th.
Well, not legitimate, but like
Arrest.
people were actually drunk.
Yeah, and like she was like on her 12th charge. Wisconsin
Jesus.
actually has tiers of punishment that go up to 15 because we have to. It maxes at 15, but up to 15. I think the record is like 27.
We had a guy here in California recently that finally lost his license after like I want to say it was like his 32nd or something like that.
Jesus,
Oh my God.
Part of don't do it or you not understanding.
Good God.
Cars have too many safety devices, but
I mean,
yeah,
but and that's the problem is because if it's blowing you at 40% higher than you should be, you could have had 2 beers, be functionally fine, and wind up in jail with a DUI and possibly lose your job. You could wind up, all sorts of things.
And that's the thing. You don't even have to be convicted of drunken driving in order to be seriously affected.
You can lose custody of your fucking kids.
Yep. Lose your job.
If you get
a
DUI in the middle of a divorce or,
Or if you're maybe a college student and you're on a scholarship and you get caught for it, lose the scholarship, destroys your entire life because the machine was wrong.
Yeah. People in the military, 3 strikes and you're out. You get 3 DUIs in the military, you get fucking kicked out.
Yeah, and the military again, you don't even have to be convicted. Like you can be arrested of one, and it will start.
Because it's 3 alcohol-related incidents in the military. 3 reportable alcohol-related incidents.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter whether you were actually convicted. The fact that you were charged is all it has to be.
Right. Yep, I knew, 4 or 5 guys that got kicked out of the Navy because they hit 3 strikes and you're out.
The one nice thing about the infantry is most people just kind of look the other way and are like, no, I like even if a cop pulls you over, if you're not that drunk, he's like, dude, seriously, keep it between the lines, get back to base, go to sleep.
Yeah, nobody gives sailors that consideration. We kind of have a bad rap.
Yeah, well, I can't imagine why. Because historically, drunken sailors are just known for being just such well-behaved people.
Hey, they're decent in their own home port. It's when they're underway that they're a problem.
Yeah, wasn't there like a riot in San Francisco or San Diego or something like in World War II? There was that great big riot involving all those sailors and like Puerto Ricans, I think, if memory serves.
Oh.
It's those guys that swing band made a song,
the Zoot Suit riots.
Yeah. And that was all drunken sailors. So in their home port. So
I've been stationed in San Diego and that doesn't fucking surprise me. So yeah. I wasn't there for long. I was there for a school, but still.
Yeah, but the point though is that it's really ridiculous that we're still like everyone's just rolling over and taking it whenever they get busted with these things, and they don't actually work.
Yeah. Yeah.
They could be holding a chalkboard and a straw and just write a number on it and still probably be more accurate than a lot of these machines.
Yeah.
Yep.
And field drug tests are the same fucking thing. I'm waiting for Florida to just throw out all of that and throw out, like, how does Florida even trust their cops anymore? They have so many videos of their cops planting drugs on people at traffic stops. Like, how are all of those convictions not thrown out by this point in time?
Yeah. Broward County.
Coward County.
Yeah. Coward County. That's where that cop hid during that school shooting instead of getting involved, even though he was also armed. And then they were like, nope, he doesn't have to be involved.
Yeah. Yep. Supreme Court strikes again. Cops have no duty to protect you. Never have. Never will.
Supreme Court also ruled that cops do not have to hire high IQ individuals.
I know.
So, just coincidence, maybe.
I realize
Yeah.
people who interact with cops might be shocked by that fact.
Frowns and Daniel Shavers.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, really? They're all stupid? No. Wasn't it? I can't stand her normally, but what's her name? That chick comedian that had that show, Sarah Silverman, where she got pulled
I
by
fucking
the cop.
hate her.
I
Oh
can't
my
stand her, but that one scene where the cop walks up and do you know why I'm here? And she goes, "'Cause you got all C's in high school."
God.
get out of the car.
and you were bullied.
Yeah, and you were either a bully and didn't want that to end, or were bullied and now you want to strike back.
Yeah, payback.
Or you would have went to the pros if it weren't for that terrible injury you got in the Division
Yeah.
3 college football.
I bet you I could throw this football over them there mountains.
Or you almost went into the military, but you would have punched anyone who got in your face.
Oh,
Yes.
I love that. I
Ow.
love that reaction. I've heard it so many times.
Me too. What the fuck is it with people saying that?
Like, no, you wouldn't.
No,
I've
you
watched
fucking
what happens
wouldn't.
if you do, by the way. And
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah. No, you
All right.
wouldn't.
Pending ban on flavored e-cigarettes in Massachusetts authorizes forfeiture of vapors' cars.
Of course.
All right. According to the Institute for Justice, Massachusetts has, quote, the worst civil forfeiture laws in the country.
And that's saying something because there are some shitty civil
laws,
forfeiture laws.
Yeah.
Michigan just took a guy's house for $8.41.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Massachusetts is still, which is ironic considering that, I mean, that's like the home of the American Revolution. The state of
Massachusetts. Yeah, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts.
Yep.
Like
Oh.
that is the revolution, and now look at what they are. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, so this article is from the 14th.
Massachusetts was like the birthplace of the United States.
So this article is from the 14th, so it's a few days old. But it says the Massachusetts House of Representatives yesterday approved a bill that would ban flavored e-cigarettes, impose a 75% excess tax on, quote, electronic nicotine delivery systems, including e-liquids as well as a device, and authorizes forfeiture of cars driven by vapors caught with, quote, untaxed products.
Oh my God.
The House approved H4183 by a vote of 127 to 31, and the state Senate is expected to consider it next week.
is that mango? No. Give me your keys. Like,
Wait, hold on. It gets worse. Quote, an emergency, quote unquote, emergency ban that Governor Charlie Baker, Republican, imposed on all vaping products in September will expire December 24th. The bill permanently bans, quote, flavored tobacco products, including menthol cigarettes, as well as vaping liquids that taste or smell like anything other than tobacco. It does not apply to hookah bars or marijuana vapes.
so yeah, we were actually, me and the
Okay,
guy
wait.
who runs the vape shop here, we were actually laughing about that a little while back, where we're just like, can you imagine like is that a flavored nicotine? No, man, no. This is, I swear to God, I am higher than shit right now. This is pot. This,
Yeah.
like, no, I promise.
Yeah.
all
And
right,
what
okay,
you're
so-
smelling, it's just like, it's really good pot. It's like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I am very stoned.
yeah, it's like mango kush.
Okay, the irony here. It does not apply to marijuana vapors. Marijuana vape was the issue that caused these people to get sick.
Yes, it was. That actually has now been officially confirmed.
That has been
even
was-
by the CDC.
It wasn't marijuana vape. It
It
was
an ingredient in a vape. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
black market THC. So it's the they're using
it had like
coconut
the
oil,
vitamin E something.
Yeah.
It was
in
vitamin
it.
E or something. Yeah.
vitamin E acetate.
There you go.
It's in coconut oil, and the problem is that cut rate vape producers will use it because it's very, very good at turning semi-solids into liquids and keeping them liquids, which is why they use them in the oil cartridges when they don't give a shit about the fact that it's not inhalant safe. Because when you heat vitamin E acetate to a couple hundred degrees, it turns into cyanide.
Nice.
So it like burns holes in your lungs. You're inhaling cyanide. And that's what every vapor from the get-go was saying is, no, we know what's going on because these people are buying things from non-reputable vape companies and things, and they're not paying attention to whether or not their ingredients are inhalant safe. And they're just throwing stuff together, and these idiots aren't paying attention. And of course they're just throwing stuff together because they're being forced into a black market, a lot of these places, because they can't just legally produce a THC cartridge. So then you're buying stuff from Joe Bob out of the back of his van, and then suddenly shocked that it's killing you.
Give me a 9mm and 3 of those peach flavored vapes there.
Yeah.
Representative John Mahoney, Democrat out of Worcester, chairman of the Joint Committee on Public Health, claims e-cigarette flavors, quote, were created and designed for one reason only: for young people to become addicted to nicotine and become lifelong users.
Bullshit.
Yes, only children enjoy flavors.
That's right. Fucking ridiculous.
Only children like things that taste like fruit. We all know no adult enjoys anything sweet at all, ever.
Yeah.
Since adults who have switched from smoking to vaping overwhelmingly prefer flavors other than tobacco, the statement is either shockingly ill-informed or brazenly mendicious. It's wrong.
Yeah.
All right. Once the preferred flavors are no longer legally available, some of the vapors may go back to smoking, a far more dangerous habit, while others may potentially buy tainted pods or e-liquids on the black market. Or they might buy flavored e-liquids in state that are still legal and bring them back to Massachusetts. But vapors who try to find a way around the ban should be aware of the potential penalties. The bill says, quote, a person who knowingly purchases or possesses an electronic nicotine delivery system not manufactured, purchased, and or imported by a licensed electronic nicotine delivery system distributor or licensed electronic nicotine delivery system retailer shall be subject to a civil penalty of not more than $5,000 for the first offense and not more than $25,000 for a second or subsequent offense. But that's not the worst of it. The bill also says a police officer who quote, discovers an untaxed electronic nicotine delivery system in the possession of a person who is not licensed.
Untaxed.
Yes. Quote, discovers an untaxed electronic nicotine delivery system in the possession of a person who is not licensed or commissioner authorized electronic nicotine delivery system distributor may seize both the product and the receptacle in which it is found, including but not limited to a motor vehicle, boat, or airplane in which the electronic nicotine delivery system are contained or transported. Such property, quote, shall be turned over to the Commissioner of Revenue and shall be forfeited to the Commonwealth.
That is, one, beyond tyrannical and insane, but two, how are you going to know if it was taxed or not? Are we expected to then save our receipts?
Yeah.
It boggles the mind.
So they're going to require tax stamps on everything like they put on cigarette packs. And
75% tax.
And, oh, Jesus Christ.
And here's
the thing. There's a bill going before Congress right now to federally legalize marijuana. And I fucking don't like that. Because look, let's not legalize shit. Because this is what they do when you legalize a vice or when something new comes on the market that people use. They regulate the ever-loving fuck out of it. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, that's one of those things like with alcohol in places where there are certain kinds of alcohol that are illegal in states because the state doesn't know how to tax it.
Yes,
because they don't know.
Yeah, let's be real here, right? This isn't about public safety. It's not about saving people's lives.
Hell no.
Oh no!
Right?
The government needs the money, just like
The government poisoned alcohol during Prohibition.
Yeah.
Oh, did I freeze? I
No,
froze,
you're still
didn't
good. Nope, we can hear you. You're good.
The government poisons
there we go.
people every fucking day.
75% excise tax, you guys.
Unfucking believable.
Well, and you know why they're doing this? Why they're doing this is because when that big tobacco lawsuit happened and everything, and that whole settlement happened, and so what was supposed to happen is that all these taxes from the tobacco was supposed to go to the states, right? And then the states were going to get all this revenue from it. Well, now that we're winning the war against smoking with these,
The states are losing revenue.
Right, they're not getting the same amount of revenue, so they want to figure out a way to make up all of that money that
they're going to do it by legalizing marijuana.
They're going to do it by legalizing marijuana, and they're going to do it by taxing the shit out of this and regulating the shit out of this.
Yep.
And taxing the shit out of marijuana.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know who's the number one industry opposer of legalized marijuana?
Tobacco.
Alcohol.
Oh no.
Yeah, because it'll hurt alcohol sales massively.
I thought it was pharma first and then alcohol.
No, alcohol.
Yeah,
No, a lot of the pharma companies have bought like Philip Morris. Philip Morris owns like I don't remember what the number is. I think it's like 12,000 acres here in California.
It's Philip Morris's tobacco though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're
tobacco.
expanding beyond that and starting to get into other
things. That's why Juul, which is at the center of a lot of lawsuits and things, is made by Big Tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's like the worst pod system and vaping system on planet Earth. It's freaking awful. It's just pure garbage, and it's making people sick because you don't know what's in those containers. Like when I buy juice for this, I can go to the makers and get the formula. Exactly what's in it. They will tell me exactly what's in it. Mm-hmm. So I know what's going into that. I can go to a vape shop and have them make a custom blend and watch them make it and know exactly what's going into it. Which, by the way, is also why this regulation will never work, because you can just make it at home. It's because it's really easy.
Okay, so under this bill, unapproved vaping products will be treated like illegal drugs, possession of which is enough to justify forfeiture of a vehicle in which they are found. Massachusetts is posed to deprive vapors of the harm-reducing products they use to quit smoking, then steal their cars if they dare to defy the unjust and irrational edict. Quote, over the objection of most local lawmakers, Massachusetts voters voted to end marijuana prohibition 3 years ago, says Gregory Conley, president of the American Vaping Association. Quote, now it appears that legislators are searching for a new drug to fight. No adult should have to travel with receipts in their pockets all the time under the threat of having their vehicle seized by the police for daring to use flavored nicotine products. Based on what we know from the disastrous war on marijuana, inevitably it will be the poor and marginalized communities that will feel the pains from laws like this. This is what happens when you have legislators who not only don't understand what they are banning, but are also intent on rushing a bill into law.
Yeah, because they have no idea. They don't pay any attention to it. In fact, when more than one politician has been confronted with the fact that it's not the flavored nicotine vapes that are causing any health problems, and that it's not increasing the likelihood that kids are going to use it simply because it's flavored, because kids smoke cigarettes and they taste like garbage. So it's, like, it doesn't matter. And when they're confronted with the reality and the actual science, their response is, well, I don't care.
Yep.
It's about safety, but I don't care what the actual science says.
Yeah.
What? That's insane.
And what it boils down to is these people, these public servants, they are definitely not more qualified than you, and most certainly way less qualified than you to run your own fucking life.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, oh no, I get to tell you what you are allowed to put in your body.
Yeah.
You don't get to decide for yourself and make educated decisions yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, this feels
Yep.
like deja vu.
You have to
but
you
how-
have to
how
abide
dare
by
you-
my
yeah.
like gut feelings and my prejudices
Yep,
and
but
all
how
my fucking
dare you
flaws.
say you're not free? If you don't like
Yeah.
your freedom, you move to Somalia. Somalia, they have fucking flavored vapes, you guys. Just saying.
Yeah, flavored vapes and machine guns, man. Like,
If Somalia had all the things that I was arguing with people about, I would fucking move to Somalia.
Yeah. If Somalia actually had anarchy, I would fucking move there.
I don't like the desert, but I think I would be okay.
there's some tropical stuff near the coast, you know, like
Yeah.
Mogadishu.
All right, here's
They got
here's
beaches
another.
and shit.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
beaches. They're full of sharks.
Yay, sharks! All right,
Pirates.
this is another one. It's just another dumb one, but I had to throw it in here because it's part of my past. Okay, Backcountry.com forces local Boise business to rebrand over using the word backcountry in its name. The world of backcountry sports is rallying around dozens of small outdoor retailers after large Utah-based companies threaten lawsuits for trademark infringement. One of those retailers is right here in the Treasure Valley. This is Treasure Valley, Idaho. Boise Gear Collective, formerly known as Backcountry Pursuit, is one of those small, locally owned businesses that was forced to rebrand after the Utah-based company Backcountry.com claimed trademark infringement. Now they say Backcountry.com is apologizing. Quote, it's an example of a really large company using its power and money to silence those that couldn't afford to defend themselves, says Tyson Stelrick, owner of the Boise Gear Collective. Just a couple of years ago, while Tyson was in the process of filing for a trademark on his business named Backcountry Pursuit, Backcountry.com filed in opposition to his trademark. Quote, the outcome of that was that I was basically forced to rebrand. He was forced to rebrand for using the word backcountry in his business name.
So the business named itself after a phrase that exists in outdoor enthusiasm circles,
Yes.
the backcountry.
Yes.
And now claims exclusive ownership.
It has
of the word.
It has a trademark copyright on the word backcountry.
How do you? No. Look, even if you believe in trademarks and copyrights, you don't get to copyright or trademark one specific fucking word. You don't get to cordon off a piece of the English language and tell other people they can't fucking use it.
Yes.
Well,
That's
they would be the
ridiculous.
first. I mean, they're not even the first ones either, though, because this happens a lot where big companies do exactly this, where they have some word that's just in common usage all the time in their name, and then they want to sue people for trying to also use it.
Like Apple.
Yeah, there are people that try to copyright the Happy Birthday song.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. I mean, it's
fucking Gene Simmons tried to trademark the money bag symbol, like the generic money bag symbol. He tried to trademark that and eventually went to court, and he got basically laughed out of court over it because, are you kidding me? No. And
jeez.
yeah, like
it says 40 to 50 companies that they have forced to rebrand sent a cease and desist letter to Starlink. Backcountry.com ultimately forced dozens of companies to put in a lot of hours to redo advertisements, rewrite company manuals, and enter new contracts with co-signers, all at their expense. Quote, as far as cash outlay, there was certainly a number of things, but my bill for this runs in the tens of thousands of dollars.
Jesus.
Easily.
And this has recently come to light, and as a response of this, there is a boycott backcountry.com Facebook group that already has over 21,000 members in only a few days.
Nice.
And people should. You tell them what the hell you think of their bullshit bully tactics with your dollar and refuse to buy from them going forward, because no, screw you, you jerks. No, we're going to destroy your company now by no one buying anything from you because you were
That's the
assholes.
point of boycotts. I mean,
It's the same with Dick's Sporting Goods when Dick's sold all their ARs and whatnot, or sorry, they
They're
didn't get rid.
regretting it now.
They didn't.
Yeah.
Sorry, they didn't sell their ARs. They stopped selling ARs, and then they actually destroyed like $5 million worth of ARs and AKs a few months ago.
And they
Yep.
raised the age that you have to
and
be
they
to
won't
buy a
sell
gun
that.
from them.
Yeah, they refuse, and they're actually involved in a lawsuit right now over it, because their age is a protected class. So because it's not illegal for somebody who's 18 to buy a long gun, they're now getting sued because they're discriminating based on age by putting that requirement in. And I can't believe that their corporate lawyers did point that one out to them. Like, you do understand that that's actually discrimination, right? We're not allowed to do that.
That was one of the other things in the article. Backcountry.com has fired the lawyers over this.
Because the lawyers just decided to run amok.
But if you're 17 and your parents give their permission, you can go to the Middle East and we'll put an AK-47 in your hand and you can fucking kill people. That's okay.
Like a friggin' Ma Deuce
Yeah.
at 17, belt-fed 50 caliber machine gun.
Yeah.
But
worse than that. I mean, you can become a fucking Reaper pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can
sit at 17, but
you could sit in a gaming chair in Nevada and kill, like a whole wedding party.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, nobody who's
still
17 is going to do that, but still.
You still have to be a CWO to fly Reaper, but
Don't ruin my.
I'm just
playing. All right.
And CWOs are like, that's at least probably a 15-year military career.
Yeah. I mean, depending
on what job you do.
Well, and you can get riders on enlistments to get fast-tracked that direction.
Right.
Because that was an offer that was on the table for me from my recruiter's boss, was to throw that rider on. He's like, give me a minimum of 6 years and I will guarantee you OCS to be able to go fly Black Hawk or drive a tank or whatever the hell you want.
Oh.
And I'm like, that you guys could do that? And he's like, yeah, we could totally do that.
You're telling me you could have been a fucking tanker?
I could have flown a helicopter if I'd really wanted to, but I didn't.
That is a missed out boogaloo skill.
All right. I think I have plenty of boogaloo skill. The direction I went.
We could do a whole freaking 3-hour episode on asymmetric warfare.
I'm gonna end up boogaloo support staff, and I'm okay with that.
Somebody's got to mend up them boo boos.
Yep.
The boogaloo boo boos.
Yep.
Boogaloo boo boos.
Yep.
All right.
Nanny ouchies.
Speaking of boogaloo. All right. Homeland Security will soon have biometric data on nearly 260 million people.
That's like 2/3 of the fucking country.
The Department of
It's not Big Brother.
Yeah, the Department of Homeland Security expects to have face, fingerprint, and iris scans of at least 259 million people in its biometrics database by 2022, according to a recent presentation from the agency's Office of Procurement Operations reviewed by the courts.
Now, let's hang on 1 second. Have you guys gone in for your government retina scans?
No.
Iris scans? No, me neither.
No.
Do you know how they're getting this fucking data in their database, people? Anybody know how they're getting all this fucking data?
I have a high definition camera right here in front of me. I'm just
but
I'm gonna take a wild guess.
There you go. Andrew's got it. Andrew's got it.
I love this biometric stuff to be able to unlock my phone nice and easy.
Yeah. I can unlock my phone with my fingerprint.
It's the greatest psyop, the greatest psyop ever for intelligence gathering. I mean, think about it, the coup that is, where people are voluntarily handing you their fingerprints and face scans and iris scans voluntarily.
Here's your sign. All right. Okay, 259 million people by 2022. That's 40 million more than the agency's 2017 projections. which estimated 220 million unique identities by 2022. The agency
Not mine.
is the agency is transitioning from a legacy system called ident to a cloud-based system hosted by Amazon Web Services known as Homeland Advanced Recognition Technology.
And it's cloud-based because that couldn't possibly backfire.
What could go wrong?
Let's just give everyone access to that.
Hold on. The biometric collection maintained by DHS is the world's second largest, behind only India's countrywide biometric ID network in size. The traveler data kept by the DHS is shared with other U.S. agencies, state and local law enforcement, as well as foreign governments. The first two stages of the HEART system are being developed by U.S. defense contractor Northrop Grumman, which won a $95 million contract in February 2018. DHS wasn't immediately available to comment on its plans for its database.
Oh, what a surprise!
Shocker.
Hold on. Okay, it gets worse and worse and worse. This is a long paragraph. Okay, biometrics, quote, make it possible to confirm the identity of travelers at any point in their travel. Kevin McAllenton, U.S. President Donald Trump's recently departed acting DHS secretary, told Congress last year. The criteria used by U.S. Customs Border Patrol officers, a division of DHS, to screen out specific travelers as suspicious is top secret, but was determined in conjunction with Palantir, the Silicon Valley data mining firm co-founded by controversial billionaire and ardent Trump supporter Peter Thiel.
Wait, what's the name of that company? Is it Palantir?
Palantir, yes.
Palantir. Oh my God. They seriously named their fucking company that?
Yeah, what is
You guys remember what the Palantir are, right? From Lord of the Rings, the Palantir were those globes that Sauron used to fucking spy on everyone.
Oh,
Jesus.
that is
oh my God.
That is lovely.
Oh my God. They're not even hiding it. They're like, nope.
No.
They might as well have called themselves Big Brother.
Yeah. The EEF said it believes CPB could be tracking travelers, quote, from the moment they begin their internet travels research. As the group has noted, DHS says, quote, the only way for an individual to ensure he or she is not subject to a collection of biometric information when traveling internationally is to refrain from traveling.
You get no damn choice.
Yes.
And I mean, think about, so in conjunction with this, you also have Republicans who are clamoring for a wall to be built on our border. So they will control all travel. They will have walled off the borders that would allow you to sneak out of the country. But don't worry, none of this is tyrannical. It's all just in the name of your own safety.
Right.
Yeah.
And the only way to get around any of it is to be extremely wealthy and have other means of travel other than the public ones.
And to fake your suicide.
Yep. And own an island where you rape children.
Yeah. Well, owning an island actually isn't all that expensive, I've discovered. It's actually
there's some that are cheap. Not terribly.
Depends
more
on,
than a really expensive house.
Yeah, it depends on where and the size and yeah.
Damn.
Last month, DHS presentation described ident as, quote, operational biometric system used for rapid identification and verification of subject using fingerprints, iris, and face modalities. The HEART database says it, quote, builds upon the fundamental functionality within ident. This includes voice data, DNA profiles, scars, marks, and tattoos, and the as yet unidentified, quote, other biometric identifiers as required.
And they have access to all of the fucking DNA databases. So don't think they're not going to be cross-referencing that shit and attaching your DNA to all your other fucking information.
Yeah. I don't think that you can rock a Juggalo face paint to defeat the facial recognition one, because that won't stop your irises. And even if you throw a pair of sunglasses on, some of the other biometric identifiers that are unique to individuals include your ears.
Mm-hmm.
Also, your radius to, it's like your arm to your leg. It's like your radius bone to your thigh bone or something ratio is unique to every single individual.
So is your gait, the way you walk.
Yep, that's unique. They can use that. I mean, all of these things that they will use to identify people. And you remember Minority Report when he has to go get the eye swap and stuff because everything's just scanning his eyes as he's walking and identifying him and stuff. That's the direction that this is going.
It gets worse. It gets worse. EFF researchers caution some of the data will be, quote, highly subjective, such as information gleaned during, quote, officer encounters and analysis of people's relationship patterns.
Of course.
Minority Report.
It's Gattaca even. I mean, this is becoming...
Mm-hmm.
All right, one more paragraph. Okay. EFF worries that such tracking, quote, will chill and deter people from exercising their First Amendment protected rights to speak, assemble, and associate. Since such specific data points will be used to identify political affiliations, religious activities, and familial and friendly relationships.
This is so 1984.
Yeah, this is, but 1984 Minority Report is the one that keeps. See, Minority Report is the one that keeps coming to mind because this stuff is all in Minority Report.
Yeah,
like this is not just the movie, but the actual the book, where it talks about analyzing patterns and predicting probabilities of people to do crimes and things, and then arresting them based on you have a high probability.
Right,
you're going to go commit whatever crime.
Yep.
It's or what was that other one? Eagle Eye. Eagle Eye is another one where it's it's based on analyzing everything and recognizing people and then predicting who's going to go commit crimes. How many times has popular culture talked about why all of this is a terrible, terrible idea and tyrannical and awful, and yet the flag wavers will still just march right in line and go sign up for their government mandated iris scans and things because, you don't want the terrorists to win.
Yep.
Okay. Quote, DHS is also partnering with airlines and other third parties to collect face images from travelers entering and leaving the U.S., the EFF said. Quote, when combined with data from other government agencies, these troubling collection practices will allow DHS to build a database large enough to identify and track all people in public places without their knowledge, not just in places the agency oversees like airports, but anywhere there are cameras.
Jesus.
Which means that they'll also take note.
Hold on. And in June, federal subcontractors suffered a malicious cyber attack resulting in the theft of tens of thousands of photos used in CPB's facial recognition database.
Yeah.
So it's incredibly unsecure. It's really easy for all of your information to get out there, for identity theft to take on a whole new dimension.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane. It's and with all of this stuff that they're developing with the relationship patterns and the biometric recognition, and what they're trying to do is build the exact same kind of social credit system that
That's
China
what I was
has.
just thinking. Social credit. Yep. That's what I was just thinking. I was going to mention it if you didn't.
You had too much to think. You can't take this flight home to see your dying grandmother. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And that's there have been a lot of articles that are really, really good and books and stuff on disappearing, on how to disappear
in
modern
man.
society. Yeah. And this is essentially eliminating that ability.
A lot of it, yeah.
Because you can't just disappear now, because the moment that you try, they're still going to know where you're going. They're going to know when you get there. They're going to know what your movements are, and they're going to identify it as a threat instantly because it's completely out of the norm for you.
Right.
I mean, think about like you could check in at the airport, right? The moment you're on airport grounds, they're tracking you.
Yeah.
Right? You check in, they have your name, they have your information, they track you on the flight. You land, they're tracking you. You could get like into an Uber. They can listen to the Uber driver's phone.
Yeah.
They don't even have to see you. They can listen to the Uber driver's phone. And then they're tracking you that way. And then there's fucking the Ring, the Amazon Ring thing on all the doors.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, and then Amazon
Pinging
Echo, and then there's the Echoes in the house and all those other ones. It's just,
and all of this technology is already there. All they're doing is building software to put it together.
To exploit it. Yeah.
Yep.
And people fucking
connecting the
plug
dots.
themselves in to all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
People willingly fucking plugged themselves into all of this. And this whole time, those of us who've been saying, this is a bad idea, this can be exploited by government, it can be exposed by government to other bad actors, it's not a good idea. We were the fucking crazy ones. We were the nutty conspiracy theorists, you know, that just were so untrusting. Well,
and that's,
guess what? We were fucking right.
How long ago did Enemy of the State come out? You know, how long ago did that movie? It's what, 20 years old?
Yeah, at least.
At least.
And that was already warning, like, this stuff is already happening. They can already track the shit out of you and everything else and shut down your bank accounts, and they can basically steal your identity away from you and leave you persona non grata.
But they had to expend considerable resources to do that at that time.
Yeah,
they had to really want to. You know what I mean? They had to have like a damn good reason to commit those kind of resources to it. That was like the last fucking protection we had. Now it is so easy for them. It is so fucking easy for them. Why wouldn't they do it to everybody? I mean, they have like there's nothing holding them back.
Yeah,
it cost them almost nothing.
Once they have the software that can compile and analyze all of the metadata that they can pull right now, once that happens and they can present it in an understandable form, because they have all the data, they've been gathering that for years and years and years, but they couldn't take it all and make coherent things out of it. That's what this software is seeking to do, which means they won't just track you from the moment you get to the airport. They're tracking you in your house. They're tracking you when you walk out. They're tracking you your whole drive there, on the airplane, off the airplane, wherever you go. They are going to be watching you constantly, and it's the idea that George Orwell talked about in 1984.
They're gonna know when you stop at the fucking Flying J to take a shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're gonna know all of that. And people talk about like smart toilets, like they want to build the smart toilets that'll analyze your waste and tell you like, hey, you should drink more water, or you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you think that they won't use that as an opportunity to gather information about you and everything. Every piece, the Internet of Things that we used to be so excited about 30 years ago, this concept of the Internet of Things is now actually an Orwellian nightmare.
Yep.
Because they can't keep their hands out of the fucking cookie jar.
That's what government does. It fucking ruins everything.
Nightmare depending on which side of the line you're on.
Yeah,
it's a dream if you're a tyrant.
It's a fucking huge opportunity if you're a tyrant.
But I mean, it's 20 years ago, 25 years ago, films were coming out warning that all this stuff was coming, and even in those shows, you know, in those movies, they have people laughing like, "Oh, you're just a conspiracy nut," and then being disproven like, "Oh no, this stuff really exists." And now they're just doing this shit out in the open like this because they realize no one cares.
Enemy of the State was 1998.
Yeah.
So 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
hey guys, it's after 11 and I'm really sore from painting all weekend, so
okay,
I'm gonna jump off.
That's all the links I had anyway. So
yeah.
I think Andrew and I are gonna ramble about Boogaloo and
all right.
Iraqi. protesters in Iraq brought a lion on a leash to the protest line.
Yeah, I saw that.
Dude, you can get past the dog. Nobody walks with a lion.
All right.
All
right. I'll see you guys. I gotta go lay down.
All right. Love you, sister.
Love you too. Talk to you guys later.
All right. Bye.
Yep.
Bye.
Yeah.
That
was.
Yeah. No, it boggles my mind that people care so little about the fact that privacy is dead. They just don't care.
Well, we remember a pre 9/11 society, right? I mean, you were a little bit younger than I was, but we remember what it was like. The people now, I mean, they've had what 18 years of constant government surveillance.
Yep.
The Patriot Act turned 18. What was it like November 3rd or 5th or something like that? I think I remember the post. Yeah. So yeah, like the Patriot Act is old enough to go to war in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, and the NADAA is actually even older. It's just people weren't talking about it before because it didn't really get used. There was no reason for them to even use it before. And now they're coming up with every excuse they can to invoke the Patriot Act, to invoke the NDAA, to invoke a million other bills that have been passed that allow all of this crap to happen.
Fuck, I didn't even think about 200. Was it they want 259 million people on this database?
Mm-hmm.
While they're pushing red flag laws.
Yep. Which means you've been analyzed to be a threat by our software. So sorry, no more guns for you.
Yeah. Oh, and you can't fly anywhere else now because well, you're a threat.
And you can't leave the country. We suspended your passport. Sorry.
Yep. Congratulations, you're in open air prison.
Yeah. And that's what I said. They have the ability to analyze, decide you're too much of a threat, and they don't have to throw you in jail. They don't have to assassinate you. They don't have to do any of those things. They can just make you persona non grata in your home country, where you can't do anything. You can't get a job. You can't drive. You can't fly. You can't use a boat or a bus. You can't do any of these things anymore. You might as well just kill yourself.
Yep. That's the options. You slum or you kill yourself somehow, but you can't buy a gun because you can't pass a background check.
Yeah. And think about how many bridges and things have tolls at the end or have some sort of a booth at the end to control even the ability to cross waterways.
Yep.
What happens if that gets shut down because for you're not allowed to cross this bridge because your social credit score isn't high enough.
Yep.
So what are you gonna do? You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. You can't make money.
No. But they'll happily throw you in prison.
Yeah. The moment you commit a real crime, they'll throw you in prison for it.
Yep. Or a minor crime. They'll hit you with some sort of made up arbitrary title like they did with Ross Ulbricht when they called him a kingpin. That was the the nickname for the law. That was the kingpin law that sent him to jail for 2 life sentences plus 40 years. El Chapo got half that sentence, by the way.
Yeah. No. And look at what his son's doing in Mexico, but
Holy boogaloo, Batman. Did you watch the video?
Yeah, that's cool. Lord.
That was intense.
Oh my God. I could not believe the firepower that's getting brought out. It's like, oh my God. You guys aren't screwing
cartels
around.
With Ma Deuces, man.
Yeah. Like full on actual technicals. Rolling around, firing, and the military's backing off because they don't have the firepower to match.
No.
They just don't.
No, that's because they weren't sent them by Fast and Furious and Operation Wide Receiver.
Yeah.
That was Operation Fast and Furious before it was Fast and Furious. That was under the Bush administration, Operation Wide Receiver. And then it became Operation Gunwalker, and then it became Operation Fast and Furious, by the way.
Hey guys, what if we name it after a movie?
Oh, anybody think it will be cool?
Yeah, it sounds neat. Oh, Fast and Furious, which was neither fast nor furious. And by Fast and Furious, we mean we're going to be so slow we're going to lose track of all of the guns accidentally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's just this constant, and it's a thing. There's an episode of Adam Ruins Everything. A lot of times I disagree with him, and I think he's an idiot. And he's a statist socialist hack. But that particular episode was actually really good on security theater. And he covers it in detail. And he's got the security expert who I occasionally very frequently disagree with, but he's right on that show. Like everybody on that show is very good within the confines of that topic on that show where we're talking about it.
We should hook up and do another episode like next weekend or something, and just security theater. Like that could be a full episode. Hong Kong could be a full episode. It's just there's so many things that are going on right now that you and I could sit and talk about for 2 hours.
Well, yeah, in Hong Kong especially. I mean, the amount of, like I pointed out the other day, where I said, look, when you give up your gun rights, you're reduced to fighting like it's the 12th century. And that's what they're doing. They're fighting a 21st century military force with 12th century weapons. And the funny thing is, they're holding them at bay right now.
And
they
really
are.
And they're squaring up. They're using like first generation warfare. Which just baffles my mind that they still exist. Yeah.
They're gluing, and a lot of people were complaining about, because the American news media tried to misreport it, where they tried to misreport
they misreport everything.
Yeah, but they were trying to manipulate the gluing of the bricks down as, they're interfering with traffic as part of their protest, because they know, the American media knows, that all of these idiot protesters in the U.S. interfere with people's abilities to just go to work just out of pure annoyance, and they want to try one and draw the line between those two, which is a load of bullshit. And they're trying to make them seem like they just want chaos. They don't have a cause. What they ignore is that the roads that they glued all those bricks onto are the roads leading into the university where they had set up as their fortress. So it was a security measure. It wasn't to interfere with traffic. It was to interfere with the wheeled, armored military vehicles that they knew were going to be assaulting them. And it was to make it harder for those vehicles to get in. And so far it's working. They're also employing Molotov cocktails, which work phenomenally well.
Trebuchets and catapults made out of bamboo.
Yeah, and they're working really well. Really well.
They're using the cobblestones from the roads as ammunition for trebuchets and catapults.
Well, yeah, and have you seen the video where they catapult that massive? It's like a cartabon of full of or carboid full of flammable liquids as a Molotov cocktail. So it's just this massive firebomb, and they catapult it, and it lands right in this group of masked cops.
Oh,
and beautiful. It goes off, and you just see them scattering on fire, and it's like, whoa, that was effective. Okay, well, if it works, but the thing is how much more effective would they be if they had weapons? Like actual firearms, and some of them do.
Yeah, same thing. I read an article yesterday, maybe it was today or yesterday, but the 1-year anniversary of the Yellow Vest protest. Like that is still happening to a smaller degree. I think that the Hong Kong protesters need to build guillotines.
Start executing start capturing and executing all the politicians who are trying to ruin their lives. And and the thing is, there's that one guy, that older guy that got interviewed who was he remembers when Hong Kong wasn't part of China, when they were truly free, when they were under British rule, so not completely free, but in comparison, very, very free. And he remembers that, and he's getting in the face of those cops, and he's yelling at them what are you doing? Look at yourself. You live here too. You're fighting your own neighbors to make them slaves to a government that does not care about you. It doesn't care about me. It only cares about itself. What are you doing? Look at yourself. Look at what you're doing right now. And eventually strategies like that will hopefully start to take hold, because they did work in several South American countries.
There was a protest here. I want to say it was during Ferguson, and then I saw the same tactic at, I want to say it was the Meserly riots here in Oakland, where the protesters held mirrors up.
Yep, the holding the mirrors up. Look at yourself.
Look at yourself. Look what you've become. Look what you're doing, and forcing self-reflection. And there were cops in Ferguson. There were cops in Oakland that walked off the line. I don't know if they put down their shields and whatnot, but they walked off the line.
Yeah, they realized, what am I doing? What?
Well,
yeah, because you've broken. Because the thing is it's a groupthink thing there. When you're in that line, it's the same thing as, with the shoulder to shoulder military tactics from like the American Civil War and things. I mean, yes, some of that was for firepower and stuff, but a lot of it was also, if I am shoulder to shoulder with these other guys, I'm way less likely to give up and break and run, or to just say, no, I don't want to do this anymore and go join those protesters, because I have these guys on my left and right who are standing there too. And they're not going to go because they're people on their left and right and so forth. Everybody's so packed together.
Yeah, I got their back, they got mine.
Yep. And that's in your head. And also, they're holding me accountable for my actions. So I have to do whatever it is. And it's so easy to get lost in that as just part of this group when you set that up. But when you make them look at themselves personally, just me, not the rest of these people, just me. Look at me.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, now all of a sudden you're breaking a lot of that illusion. They're having to look at themselves, look at what they are, look at what they've become and what they're doing, and reason things out as an individual.
Yeah. People become attached to labels. They become attached to, ideology isn't the right word, but they become attached to labels, like a police officer. A police officer believes himself to be a police officer first, right? And then like everything else comes after that. When they're a police officer, when they have that badge on, when they have on their quote unquote Superman uniform, that's what they're focused on being.
Yep.
It's the same way with the military. It's the same way with all these social justice warriors and the nationalists and all these people that get caught up in these identity politics. It happens the same way with police and military and government and the status, the government supporters. Like a lot of these people, like they can't see past what Donald Trump is, because Donald Trump is Republican.
Yep. What is it? They'd vote for a flaming pile of garbage if it had an R next to their name.
They did vote for a flaming pile of garbage because he had an R next to his name.
I know, but it's like a literal actual, like, you could put a rabid raccoon in the election, and as long as it had an R next to its name, the Republicans would still vote for it. Because, well, what else do you want?
I'd vote for Rocket also. Just
he's not rabid. He's just
he's
I'm not a raccoon. Trash panda. But it's, that's the thing though, is that's what it becomes. It becomes my team, my guys, my thing.
Oh my God, that absolutely. There was a post I put on Wolf earlier, and it was talking about the 2020 election and how some people aren't going to be happy and it's going to cause more civil discourse, and people were commenting, "Well, it's just Trump getting even."
Like it's a balance sheet.
Yeah, and it's like that's it. It doesn't make things better.
It's and
that doesn't help things.
Well, and they'll tell you that they're not xenophobes and then immediately be xenophobes. And I think people misunderstand what that term actually means. It's xenophobia. It's not about immigrants, idiots. Although, yes, it can apply to them. It's the other, that other. It's about, oh, I'm scared of things that aren't part of my group. This frightens me. And that's what it's about. And they are, Democrats and Republicans are xenophobes. They're just terrified of the other, the people who disagree with them, who don't think the same way they do. That scares them. So like when you're an anarchist and you wind up on one of those posts where they're arguing back and forth and you're like, you both suck, you know, kids, please, you're both just awful. And when you do that, they freak out because they have no idea how to handle the fact that you reject both sides. And they can't wrap their brains around that really complicated third choice. It's so hard to figure out.
You mean Somalia?
Yeah. Why don't you just go back to Somalia? It's ridiculous. I laugh so hard like when I talk about not standing up for for the Pledge of Allegiance or the national anthem. I don't take my hat off. I don't give a fuck. And I get so often these people, especially the flag humpers, the hardcore right-wing flag humpers, who are like, oh, you stupid libtard, you just hate this country. Well, first of all, saying I hate a country doesn't entirely make sense, because what is the country? I hate the land that I'm standing on? No, I kind of like this land. I certainly don't, I mean, I don't like other people necessarily, but I certainly don't hate the people who live around me. I hate the fact that we are being ruled by tyrants. That's what I don't like. I hate the fact that tyrants will kill me or put me in a cage if I do things that they don't like. That's what I hate. But if you're trying to imply that I hate something else, and you ask them to define the country and watch their heads explode.
And then it comes all ad hominems. Yeah,
because as soon as you ask them to define these things, well, or, you know, support the troops. Oh, what does that mean? Well, what do you mean? What does that mean? Well, what does it mean? What are you saying? What is the implication of the sentence that you just uttered? And they have no idea.
What you should do is be like, I serve this country. Give me some money.
Yeah. Okay. Money. Support. Come on.
Support your troops. Give me some money.
Like I keep telling people, soldiers need Hummers. Support the cause.
That only works with strippers.
Yeah, well, it does work with strippers.
On that note, this has been episode 76. And we'll catch you next time. Peace.